Greetings to all of you tuning in here, our members of St. Barbara Parish at the Old Mission and the members of the Greater Mission community. Thank you so much for joining in on this video. I'm speaking from the office of the Mission Archive Library, which is one of the wonderful elements of this mission complex, which of course, as we all have, it's been affected by the shutdown. And I'm looking at a picture of Father Maynard Geiger, who was really the founder of this modern archive. He really put the archive up to date and deployed all of the latest thinking on archival preservation and that kind of thing. So, but most importantly, I'm here with Monica, Dr. Monica Orozco. Monica was the second director after Father Maynard of this Mission Archive Library, and of course, as you know, Monica now serves as the executive director of Old Mission Santa Barbara. So, surrounded by this great history and the lineage of Father Maynard, we're going to be talking about this wonderful speaker series that begins the first week of March. Monica, do you want to talk about that series and what it means to you?
Yeah, thank you. And I want to also just really thank the parish for their participation in our speaker series last fall. And it was from that speaker series that we got feedback from parishioners about what they really wanted to get into in the next series. So we met with, Susie and I met with Roger and with Phil, and they really wanted a deeper dive into mission history, the mission era, and in particular wanted to know what happened, what actually happened, so that they had the information they needed to engage in conversations now, especially when they're talking about social justice issues, and can reconcile and deal with the past that this mission was a part of. So that has been the basis of what we're organizing for March and into mid-April. So it will be a deeper dive into mission history. However, it's a little bit more than that, as we're also trying to integrate opportunities for indigenous California members of indigenous tribes in California to talk about their response to that history and what they are doing now to deal with the legacy of that history, and not just them, but also the friars. What did the friars learn from that experience? What work did they do after that? So it's not just so that we're only talking about the past, but what's happening now. And that addresses, I think, some interest and concerns on a lot of different people's part. I mean, Roger and Phil are trying to figure out what can we do now as members of this parish, as members of the Catholic Church, in terms of social justice, in terms of reconciling with other groups, and especially indigenous groups, and in our case, the Chumash community, which is very diverse. And the more we know, and the better, because the more we can deal with those events and with the legacy, the aftermath of that time period. But also for the Chumash and other indigenous Californians, something that we have heard, not just at our mission, but at other missions, especially in response to surveys that took place during the year of the canonization of Saint Junipero Serra, is that many members of California tribes, when they went to mission museums, the exhibits seemed to be rooted in the past, and people left the museum with the thought that California Native Americans were extinct, were no longer existed, and really asked us to speak to them being vibrant, important members of our community now and have always been here. So we did that in an exhibit in our museum, but this is also something that we're trying to do with this series, is provide a platform for diverse voices, and in this case, Native Californian voices, to explore these issues, to enter into this conversation, and that we all learn from this exchange.
Yeah, no, it's so important. And one of the things that I was so impressed by in talking to you earlier about the series is that you have really engaged some top scholars on early mission history, and including, I think, Robert Sankiewicz and his wife, who collaborated on the first series,
right,
and others. So
yeah, and so he will actually be giving a talk on Sarah, specifically the kind of diametrically opposed images that have emerged over the decades and centuries about Sarah, and how neither of them is actually accurate, and then give us a fact-based biography of Sarah. So, in addressing, how did these images emerge, and what were the forces behind them, and then from their research, what is rooted in the documents? What do they know about his views? What was true, what was not true about him and what he did. And then we also have James Sandos, who wrote Converting California, and he will be talking specifically about what were the conversion strategies, what actually happened at the missions, and what were the expectations and what was the reality, pretty much. And so we'll also have Dr. John Johnson from the Museum of Natural History talking about Chumash culture before, during, and after the mission period. Father Jack Clark Robinson is going to be talking about the friars post-mission period. Okay. And we have a couple panels we're still working on finalizing. One is a panel of Chumash members of the diverse Chumash community responding to the legacy and to the history. And the other panel is going to be exploring, discussing representations like statues of early California. And for that we have Steve Hackle, and who also wrote a biography of Junipero Serra, but has also written many works on the mission period, as well as Nikki Sandoval, who has a PhD in education and was the head of the education program for the San Ynez tribe, and I believe now has her own consultation service. So, and Ann Peterson from the Santa Barbara Trust for Historic Preservation will moderate the discussion. I'll be part of that panel as well.
What a wonderful concept for a panel as we think about and talk together about the meaning of representation. I don't want to get sidetracked, but I'm always amused when I see the mission bell out in front with the sign underneath that says Southern California Automobile Association.
Exactly.
Is that the group that was telling our history? No, I think what you're saying is let's
explore that.
Let's explore what it means to have tourist bureaus telling the history as opposed to scholars and that. So, well, wonderful. Well, is there anything else that we need to know as I look at again at Father Maynard?
Father Maynard, who not only modernized the way we take care of the stuff here at the mission, but he built this wing. Wow. So this whole wing, which includes the parish office, wasn't built until the late 1960s. And how Father Maynard got permission to fuse a new wing onto an historic landmark, I'll never know, but that's the force he was. Wow. That he gathered the support in not just here at the mission, but in the broader Santa Barbara community to make that happen. And he did it so that we could have an area that had air conditioning and heat so that we could properly take care of the collections.
Well, there's another part of the history that would probably be a talk in itself.
Oh, definitely. Amazing person.
We could say that Father Maynard doesn't quite get the high beam spotlight that Father Virgil does, but he was doing work himself that was magical, and we look back on it now and say, how did he do it?
Yeah.
Well, Monica, thank you so much for all the preparation work you've done for the speaker series and all that you're doing to really make this mission a vibrant center of Franciscan evangelization and service. So,
well, thank you for that. And I thank the parish for the support to be able to pull this kind of program together, because it speaks to my heart as well to be able to.
Oh, I can
I'm an
tell.
educator at heart, so this is what I love to do.
Wonderful. Well, to all of you, we look forward to having you join in on the speaker series, and until then, may the Lord give you peace.